The following is an exclusive production of Minuteman Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia, is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing, with insight and info from UMass and MAC insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
And we welcome you to the middle of September already. So we've been off and running here for almost a month now, if you think back to the week zero, as they call it, Rainy, the third week of August. But a lot to talk about, a lot to get to. We can start, I would say, first from last week, okay? Because you got a lot of comments from what you talked about. Like I said, I thought you had a great, really dissertation on everything that was going on for the first 30 minutes of the pod. I know I added a little bit there at the end. I know we're fired up. We're ticked off. But the main point is that, and you said it, we still support this team. You still support your school. You still care so much about this place. Like, we're not going to come on. We're not bashing people. We're not calling for their heads. And we're not really saying anything that I don't think the coaching staff already knew themselves anyway, right? It's like it gets frustrating. But what did you gather? Because I know a lot of people were hitting you up, from everything that you talked about last week.
Yeah, I got a lot of DMs, a lot of direct message from fans, and a lot of people DM me that I've never met. And I try to correspond with people. 99.9% of the feedback I got from our pod last week was all good. Listen, fans are passionate. Let me say this about the fan base. You are 100% in the right to be disgusted and just in a bad place. Like no one can tell you can't be. And let me also say this too. So some people from UMass reached out to me again. I'm keeping those conversations private, and some things are private, okay? And as I said to them, that was like 12 years of frustration from the day this program transitioned from FBS to today. I mean, the most wins we've had in the transition is 4, the losingest program of all the schools that have transitioned. So fan base has every right to be mad, to be disgusted. They don't need to be told what to do, how to do it. It's up to the football program, the university, to regain the trust of the fan base, and it's show now. It's show up, do it. It's just do it. It's as simple as that. And here's the thing: like, the passion is still there. And we said this before, Mike. If you show up on social media and it's crickets, then you've lost the fan base. I would rather have a fan base bitching and screaming about things. And I get it. Some are more extreme than others. That's why they're fans. They're fanatical, right? That's what it stands for. So I completely get it. And listen, some people still came at me. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. And I'm just glad they're still on there and engaged. But the fans have every right to be disgusted after that Bryant game, and we need to move forward. As far as Iowa, we're going to talk about it now. You know what I said going into this game. I wanted the kids to play hard. For the most part, I think they did. Joe Harris-Simiak himself, I'm using his words in the press conference, they were outclassed, right? You're going up against a big, strong FBS Power 4 program, and it is what it is. Listen, that loss would not have gotten the scrutiny it got, Mike, if they would have beaten Bryant, right? You lose to Bryant the way you did, and then it just steamrolls with everything else, and I expect it from the fans.
Yeah, but I'm not even really scrutinizing that game because, again, I hate to say it, I think we all knew that was probably what was going to happen. They're off this week. They got Missouri again. No offense, probably not going to win that game. It's going to be, it's going to be tough. I think, like you said before, I'm kind of reserving a little bit more animated judgment, if you will, until we get to the MAC schedule, until we get to that Western Michigan game. Then I'll really be like, okay, because here's where we need to be competing for sure. And if we're not, now we got a real problem. Okay. But I'm not going to go and analyze Iowa and Missouri. I mean, it was just tough because I was following the score, on Saturday. I had this town thing with my daughter, and I got back and I was like, all right, good. I'm ready to watch the UMass game. This is gonna be great. So I pop it on. I mean, just doesn't want to watch. I knew they were going to struggle, I'm sure. What's the first thing I see? Start of the third quarter, 4th and 12, UMass, punting. I'm like, all right, here we go again. Keegan, right, all the way down the 5-yard line. I'm like, awesome, great kick. Guy's backpedaling on the catch. The announcer is funny. He goes, he's like making the Willie Mays catch. Remember Willie Mays, that awesome catch? He's like over his shoulder backpedaling. I'm like, all right, guys, get him. Get him. Stop, 95 yards, touchdown. And we all know. And I'm like, really? And it's like, I don't want to keep harping on this because like we're talking about the punter, it's like the Allen Iverson thing. We're talking about practice. Like we're talking about the punter. Yeah, because he's great and he is a weapon. I don't want to hear he's too good because out kicking your coverage, like you've heard that all throughout your time. Well, I guess it's what's going on because I looked at the numbers. He's had 5 punt returns, right, for 206 yards, the ones that they've returned. Now, that includes the 95-yard touchdown that we just saw. But the other 4 is averaging 28.
Yeah.
Because you gave that big one up, it's no secret. They're last in the nation in yards on average given up on the punt returns. I mean, he's kicked 16 of them, 5 fair caught, the 5 return, and the other 6 were downed. So it's like, but I also wanted to say something that you had talked about before. It's like special teams needs to make a play. They got to help them win the game. They did. They blocked the punt themselves and they scored. Great play by Grant Jordan, quarterback, got in for the touchdown. I'm like, that's what you were talking about, Rene. So I'm very encouraged by that because it's like, hey, look, it doesn't really matter in this game because it was 47-7. But when you're in a freaking close game and it comes down to it, that's the kind of plays that we need. So I don't want to say just take the good. Yeah, keep doing that and then fix the bad. But you do have to fix the bad because you can't cancel yourself out. I mean, it really should have just been 40-0 or even 47-0 had they not gotten that, So that's what's a little frustrating.
A couple of things on it. Listen to Joe Harris-Samiak. Keegan Andrews was instructed to kick the ball out of bounds. He didn't. I know, but I'm just but there's no excuse. You have to cover kicks because there was a punt earlier where he caught it, and we had 2 gunners right there. The returner basically split them. I mean, you can't do that. While we're thinking about it, TJ Magee got hurt on that 95-yard punt return. And I was a little aggravated with Big Ten Network because, correct me if I'm wrong, I watched it in replay. There was no replays of him getting hurt. I think he got blindsided, didn't he, on that punt?
They didn't show it because I think it was really bad or obviously he was knocked out. They brought the stretcher out. I think it was one of those deals where they're like, we're not – I heard them. They said, we're not going to show it to you again because but –
last update. I mean, even after the game, he was moving all his extremities. Right. He talked. He told Coach Harris-Samiak, "Tell my mom I'm okay." Good. So that's great. We saw the post from UMass Football saying everything looks good. Haven't gotten any updates since then. So I just would tell everyone just keep TJ in your prayers, him and your family, and hope he's going to be good. And I think let's pray he is.
Yeah, well, we just talked to Christian here with Minuteman Command, and he said, the last response, he got back late Sunday night with his parents, doing okay. That's pretty much, the end of it for right now. And yeah, it's not even about when's he getting back on the field. No, let's just make sure he's okay. Everything's good. But to your point, hopefully it's not really, really serious. Yeah. So we can't speculate. We got to wait.
And so you mentioned Missouri. First of all, week off, right? So. Yeah. And I said this to someone on X too the other night. Was like, I already talked about. I get the frustration and just the plain just disgusting feeling that the UMass fans have. Like I get it and it's justified, right? But please don't stop supporting the kids, right? The kids are out. A lot of these kids just got here. They're trying. They're playing. Okay. I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. This football team, they're going to be judged on the 8-game max schedule. That's my opinion, and I think any sensible person out there that's a college football fan and UMass fan, yeah, you can still be disgusted with the Bryant loss and Temple and Iowa, Missouri. I get it. Let's judge them what they're going to do in this 8-game schedule. Does that mean 4-4 in conference makes people happy? Does it mean 3-5? I don't know. That's for everybody. Everybody has their own opinion. I just want to see it. The old eye test. I want to see that. Again, you game plan, you go into Missouri to try to win the game. Right? That's first and foremost. We all understand that. But you still, if I'm the coaching staff, if someone still isn't 100%, Mike, I keep them out of Missouri, I heal them up, and I get ready for the 8-game conference schedule. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I understand, and we said this last week too, and then we're gonna, we've talked to Coach Harasimiak, we've talked to a bunch of the staff members, our great guys here at Minuteman Command are on the ground, they're talking to them every week, all this stuff, we're seeing the press conferences. We liked what we heard, we liked what we saw some changes, we saw some differences, they are trying to make some moves. So no, I feel bad too, because we were so pissed off from that second game, but it's like anybody would get a little bit of time here. You know what I mean? So I know it is only their second game. I get it. What happens if we beat Bryant by 2? Like, would we feel that much better? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't where it needed to be. They needed to win by 30, and they didn't. So that being said, I want to give this staff, a lot of credit. They are working hard. They are trying to make some changes, and that they would tell you, and they don't want to tell you because they feel bad enough as it is because we've been dealing with this forever. But they have it, that it does take some time. I think it's going to take a little bit more time than we thought, and that's okay because we want it to be right. Okay, we don't want to just be like, come on. It's like it's got to be right. All right, so I know.
Well, let me say this, and I understand what you're saying, and a lot of UMass fans were talking about that. I will say this, Mike. And I've said this before. This is a college football thing. I get it, what you just said. I get it. Unfortunately, in today's world in college football, sorry, I'm getting a call. Let me shut it off. I don't know why my phone's ringing.
Because you got 3 more conference calls today. You got a game coming up.
So. Well, I got a lot going on, so that'll stop in a second here. Let me say this. In today's world of college football, and I think Joe Harasimiak knows this. If he doesn't, he knows it now. Like, the days of coaching staff, you got 3 years, you got time to turn it around. Those days are done. They're done. I mean, we just saw UCLA fire Deshaun Foster after 15 games.
I know.
1 year, 3 games.
2 coaches this week at the 3rd game of the season.
Crazy, right? And now everyone's reactionary, so they're going to start happening even more. And I'm not advocating firing, obviously, right? I think Joe Harasimiak and his staff he put together is good. However, you cannot rely on the excuse of, well, I inherited this staff, and you own it. When you come in, you own what you retain, and you own what you bring into the portal. And I talked about it because I do think it's apple and apples. Buffalo was 3-9 2 years ago. Pete Lembo reversed it in 1 year and won 9 games. Okay, so it can be done. And when you take over a program, right, wrong, or indifferent, you own it from day one, and you own the scrutiny that's going to come and the good that comes with it too, if you do good things. So I think this isn't a Joe Harasimiak thing. This is a college football thing where all these coaches at these programs for the first year, they're all under more pressure than they've ever been in their lives, just because the climate of college football has changed. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, think about it. Think about how, let's go back to when you played. You have sometimes pressure is good, but then sometimes pressure is not good, right? It puts you in a position of I just got to do this, or and then you don't make the right decisions or sound things because you're all worried about that. I don't think they are. I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders. I think he speaks well. He knows, where this program can be. He wants to get it there. So if he starts talking like we all are, which you don't do because we're in the media, like, oh my God, we're screwed, we're worried. No, he's never going to say that. And you can't. You have to just right the ship. And the other thing that you got to be good with too, and then with the players, you can't be waving the flag and trying to make wholesale changes because this stuff happens. When you start doing that, you start grasping at straws like, oh no, we got to do this now. No, I bet you he's steady the course, right?
And your roster is your roster. This isn't, there's no midseason portal. You're not bringing people in. So whatever you have to work with, it's just, listen, it's incumbent upon the coaches to put the best players in to give them the best chance to win at all positions, regardless of any outside distraction. You put the best players in and you do your very best to scheme and game plan against the team you're playing. And that's all you can do. And then internally you have to motivate, right? You got to keep players up. And again, I'm going to withhold judgment until the end of the year, until I see the entire body of work, which this, for the first time in a long time, includes an 8-game conference schedule.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because you said before, like last week, I remember it was, it's smart because it's like, it's one at the line, right? Offensive line, defensive line. You're like, I had $1 million. I'd like to spend, 80% of it on the offensive defensive line. Okay. What about in terms of like the sides of the ball? Okay. Because like when I look through the numbers, and I get it because they just lost 47-7, but they're the 5th worst team in the nation right now, giving up 38.7 points a game and 5th worst on third down percentage defense. Opponents are converting almost 55% on third down.
What about third down? What about third down offense? You got that one. They were 0 for 10. Against Iowa, 0 for 2 on fourth down. So they were 0 for 12.
Right.
You just can't win. They know. Listen, we're not saying anything they don't know.
No, I know, but I guess I was trying to get at if you go to the portal, right, or you're trying to get new people and stuff. What do you think it's harder to do, getting really, really good offensive skill guys, and how much money that would freaking cost, or really good defense? Like, it's hard. Every coach I've ever talked to, it is really hard to get really good. We're talking defensive line now. Interior defensive linemen, defensive tackles, good defensive tackles in the portal are probably, a lot of people don't realize, they're probably the hardest position to get, and they pay a premium. They get paid a premium at the power forward level. So you can just imagine, right, as it trickles down. So D line is hard. Again, everyone wants to talk about skill. UMass has the skill on this roster to win, certainly in the MAC. Running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, what tight ends, 100%. You got to win at the line of scrimmage, and I'm that's still out, right? Because I'm gonna judge it in the MAC play. But defensive line, Mike, to your point, defensive tackles specifically, and rush defensive ends, hardest to get. But you got to get it. So this is I'm going to tell you, this is another thing that makes UMass fans like crazy, right? And we talked about this. Delaware beat UConn. That is a hell of a win for Delaware. Delaware is going to win it 6 to 8 games this year. They're not even eligible for a bowl game. They're going to end up petitioning the NCAA. Delaware's going to go to a bowl game. I know. I personally know, because I have a family friend whose son plays defensive tackle for Delaware. So I know that position, and I know how they recruited them and how they got them in a great way. You have to win up there. Another one, okay, that drives people nuts. JMU. I have JMU this week versus Liberty. JMU's defensive front is phenomenal. Yeah.
Think about this. So they had a bye last week, JMU. Bob Chesney was at Holy Cross, so UMass fans scream about that. So Bob Chesney's first year at JMU last year, 9 wins, goes to a bowl game. I believe they won it. I don't have it in front of me, but 9 wins first year. Really good defensive front. They didn't play last week. They played 2 weeks ago on the road at North Carolina State, playing a Power 4 program, right?
Right.
They gave up 113 yards rushing to North Carolina State, which is pretty good, right? You think, that's pretty good. Mike, 78 of those yards was on one play. They had one breakdown that really cost them the game, where the very, very good running back for NC State goes 78 yards.
Yeah.
They lost that game 28-14. They had a strip fumble in the end zone where they gave up a touchdown. Like, they're a good team. Those are traditional teams that UMass has played forever, and we've always competed well against them. We've always beaten them, lost. But I mean, and it boggles the mind of people that those programs transition it and have been so successful. Well, Delaware just transition, but they're going to be successful.
No, I understand. And look, I mean, I spent 13 years in Delaware doing games there, so I know what it's like. And look, they're doing all this, by the way, with an interim athletic director, an interim president. There's a couple other positions they got to fill. They're in a little bit of an influx there. And I was like, how are they even getting this done? And they transition, and then they won, and they're 2-1. Lost to Colorado 31-7. Not horrible, actually, on the road. Primetime TV, national TV, Fox, whatever. It's like, that's respectable. So, but I'm with you. But here's the thing: like, you and I do this. I think we're pretty good at it, in terms of in our profession. And other people will figure out someday. It's like, when the schedule comes out and you could see what game everybody has. Like, so we're always like used to be. Oh, how come he got that game? Or he did this game? you can't worry about anybody else at this point. Like, I mean, you and I, we don't. We just, hey, we're excited. We got that game. We make this a Super Bowl, and we kick ass. That's what you got to do now, because you're only going to get more pissed off, basically with what you just said. But JMU did this, but did it. Yeah, you know why JMU's like that? Because when they won the freaking national title in 2004, they immediately were like, boom, money into the program. We're doing this. We got to get a new stadium. We got all this stuff. And that's 20 years ago. And look where they are. See how much time it took? And I get it. Now with the portal, oh, we should do this right away. UMass has never put in the resources. Okay, we all know this. Okay, I talked to a bunch of people yesterday. I was up at the UMass Mass Collective Golf Outing, which went great. We can talk about that more in a minute. But it's like, if you don't have the resources, you don't have the support, and like this is the first year where it's kind of starting to get up there a little bit, you can't even really go back in the past and say, hey, what the hell, man? You know, like this has been 13 years. No, it's really kind of starting now. Like until you get the support and the resources. So I know that sounds frustrating. Like I had the same thing personally in my career one time. Like I was talking to my agent or whatever, and I was hoping to get more stuff and bigger games and this and that. I ended up like working with like a voice coach, 1 year to kind of refine some stuff and get better. And then I really got better on the air. So it's like, I can't go back and say, geez, I've been doing this for 15 years. How come I'm not doing Saturday Night Football? Hey, how about from that time where I kind of reinvented myself and got better and had the right tools to practice and go, and now we're doing good. You know what I mean? So same thing here. I got to give it a little bit of a pass. We haven't been back that well. And the whole UMass community, they know that.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what's frustrating, because me and you talked about it. Like this truly, and this is one of the reasons why we did this podcast. This year was supposed to be a page turner.
Yeah,
like a DB that gets beat or a quarterback that throws an interception. We were flushing everything that happened behind us. There was a lot of mistakes. We know that to this point. And this was a flush and a restart. And it's been like, everyone's like, we're cursed. Like it couldn't.
Yeah.
So that's what's frustrating for the fans. But to your point, it is. This is a reset. And again, we're going to give it the max schedule. I should say this, Mike, as well. So I think everyone that watches this pod, if you follow me, knows that my weekly college football broadcasting package is ESPNU. Yeah. So UMass happens to be on ESPNU next Saturday, not this Saturday, then the Saturday after. We get our games a week in advance. They play Missouri. That's an EU game. So I don't I'm going to leave it to my boss. I haven't said anything, but we'll know. I'll know in a couple days. So there's a 50-50 chance that I'm on UMass Missouri. So we'll see.
Jeez, you're going to beat me to it, because we're hoping to get on that November 12th game together. We'll figure that out. But
and I may not be. There's some other games in the pipeline, but there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. So we'll see. Yeah, and again, I'm just gonna keep supporting the kids, and it is a reset, and we're just gonna keep going. Listen, there's nowhere to go put up. We're gonna keep supporting them.
We take this week here, get some guys healthy. That's the other thing too. And I know I know they're not going to come out. They've already said it, and I like to talk in. You say reality. It's like it sounds like excuses. Oh, we got all these guys hurt. It's not. It's reality. They have guys hurt, and that's a problem. Like if you're already struggling and you don't have what you think you might have had with everybody healthy, now what do you think is going to happen? A couple of guys down. So it's like, to me, and I'm not saying you don't go out and play hard and try to win the game against.
No, but you get healthy versus Missouri.
I know. You got to think about this. Like, I mean, here's the week off. I wish this week off came after Missouri. So I would be scouting and being ready for Western Michigan guys that are hurt. They don't even play them against Missouri. Just wait. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're up against it, obviously, and we can't have any more guys hurt. Like you can't, because they're playing hard and stuff's going to happen. But just you want to have it for the max so we can at least see, and that's where your opportunities are going to be. Like, hey, it's still out in front of you. I don't want to hear, oh, I guess we're not going to a bowl this year. Bullshit. Like. You're 0-4, but you got to win 6 games. I'm not saying it's going to – I don't know.
But until those goals are officially eliminated, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm a very goal-oriented person in my entire life. I don't care what it is. I set goals. So some people will call them dreams. Bigger goals, okay? And then there's a myriad of smaller goals that you have to achieve to get the bigger goal, right? And in this case, you got to win 6 games to go to a bowl game, and that's still on the table. And I'm not writing it off at all. To your point, we have 8 conference games. If this team can go 6-2 in conference, that I think the UMass fan base would just be beside themselves thrilled. You know what I mean? And until, and I rightfully agree with the UMass fan base that's yelling at this podcast right now. Oh, bullshit. This team hasn't showed anything that they could do that. To this point, you're right. But again, I'm withholding judgment until the whole body of work is done. And by the way, it's a podcast, so we can be a little informal. And you've seen me turn around a couple times because it's driving me nuts. Does that UMass football helmet look like it's reversed? Should I turn it around, Mike? It's driving me nuts.
Reverse. No, I see UMass.
Like, yeah. Is it good? Or should it be like that?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You like it? Which one you like?
The U is
doesn't matter.
The U is up by the face mask on that one. Turn it around. I think that looks a little better that way.
Okay. I'm very anal with stuff because All right, we got that fixed. Sand the minute man's good. I got a couple of sands back there. So
look, I'm still working on this, man. I've been so busy. I'm so sorry. Like my background, but now I got I've got the infrastructure, right? See,
that's my printer copier, but I don't like looking at it. So I put an old 19 jersey over. That's a game worn jersey I had in my closet. So
thing's awesome. I got the infrastructure. I got the foundation back here. Now I got to get my stuff in there. So I will. But yeah, no, I like your backdrop. I like the UMass that way. They should bring those helmets back too. I'm tired. I love the U. I love the curse.
How about a little inside? So do you see those Cheez-It boxes?
Oh yeah.
So those are from the Cheez-It Bowl. The last 3 years I've called the Cheez-It Bowl for ESPN Radio because it's here at Camping World Stadium. So 2 of those boxes, you'll love this story. 2 of those boxes had Cheez-Its in them, and I never took them out. Last week, I'm over there rearranging stuff, and I'm like, there was ants everywhere, man. I had a freak. No. I live in the country, so I don't know, like where do these ants come from? But they came. I had to clean everything out. I got the cheeses, threw them out. I don't want to throw the boxes out, right? They're commemorative boxes. But sprayed, got it all cleaned, and so a little inside. That's what's going on in my office.
Thanks a lot, Cheez-It Bowl. Yeah, you got to look at the date on that one. Oh, that's funny.
And the football right there, Mike. That's the Music City Bowl. We called that bowl together.
Yeah, Music City Bowl is awesome.
2017, we called that game. That was Northwestern and Kentucky. Me and you called that.
Tell you what, like I said, anytime you think about something that you're like, oh, yeah, 2007, 8 years ago.
Crazy.
What? I mean, it's out of control. Well, and hey, yesterday I was up at the Mass Collective Golf Outing, which is awesome. Crumpet Fox Golf Club in Berniston, Mass. Big shout out to Pat McWilliams, who runs the collective and has a bunch of great people working with him. And they got it dialed in. And we had a great tourney. It was fun. It moved. They had great food, drinks, a lot of different raffle items, raising a lot of money for the program. I thought everybody had a great time. And, that's what it's all about. I mean, I was like, when I was up there, those are the people that care. Those are the supporters. I have to say it because they paid to be in there. But, like, they're like, yeah, we're not happy with what we're seeing in football. But, like, hey, that's okay. We're here for UMass. And that's what I love about it. So going up there and getting reconnected and then meeting new people, that's what we need to do. We just got to kind of rally around it. I talked to Marty Jacobson again, who says he watches this every week. I mean, he was great. We talked probably for another half an hour.
Marty sent me a few texts. Me and Marty have talked a bit.
Yeah, and he's great. I mean, he's a huge supporter. He's donated so much money.
He puts his money where his mouth is too, literally.
Yeah, he does. Right, but he was calm. He wasn't like, this has to happen. We got to do this. It's like, and he's putting millions of dollars into this thing. So it's like he recognizes the same thing. Like, hey. Yeah. You got to get everybody on board. It's going to take a little time. We're doing a little bit better. I mean, I'd like to get him on. I told him, I said, I'd like to hear more from him as we move on here because he has that information. He talks to those people. He's on those committees and things that are like, hey, we got to get this done. And it's like, well, here's the 18 things we got to do to make it happen. So not that easy. And we had that conversation, really, just because on this pod too, I like to make sure we give out people to tell the information. It's like, you gotta back it up. You gotta have some reasons. You gotta know the inside info. You can't just come out and say, this is BS. Like, unless you know the info, you know what I mean? It's sometimes hard to judge. So I think maybe if anybody watches this or they say, oh yeah, Mike Corey's a cheerleader too, you know, like he's always being positive. Look, man, I like
you want us to, some people just want us to come on here and just be like, blow it all up, blow it all up, blow it up, blow it up. And we've said that.
I'm not going to do that. It also makes you look bad, because then when they do well or whatever, what are you going to do? Now you like eat your words. It's like, no. And just like you, and you said it perfectly last week with your enthusiasm, and you know, I love it. I love UMass. You know, I'm not going to come out and say things that I don't, and anything I say, I do believe. And we believed everything that we were told, and we saw.
We're as frustrated and aggravated as everybody else. I mean, so we're no different.
Right. We said it last week. Don't tell me we weren't critical. We were. So, but anyway, I mean, we have to wait to see what happens. And I know we got this week off here. We're going to get a few more guests on the show, of course. We'll get talking to Coach again down the line a little bit. I would like to wait till you said after a MAC game or two, and we'll take it from there. But where are you at this week again? What do you got?
I have JMU at Liberty, so I get to check the box. I've done Liberty before, but I've never been to Lynchburg, never been to their stadium. And my good friend Bill Durkins, the offensive line coach, a former UMass All-American lineman, so always like to run into Big Dirk, so that'll be good. And, so that should be a good game. I mean, Liberty lost to Bowling Green last week, a game where 2 touchdowns were called off the board, a lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers, so they need to bounce back. And, again, JMU was on a bye week, but, lost at North Carolina State. But they're a good team. They're going to compete in the Sun Belt once again, and obviously I think Liberty will compete in Conference USA, so it should be a good game. That one is the 3:30 Saturday game on ESPNU.
Okay, cool. I think one thing I just want to close with, and maybe you've done it because you've been a lot of different stadiums. So have I. You want to help this program, or you want to help the athletic director, you want to help the people that are involved. How about sending like a nice message of ideas or constructive criticism that can maybe help make us better, right? I think a lot of people just go out there and they just bitch and this and that. Hey, let me tell you, do me a favor, Rene. When you go to Liberty, go analyze a few things there, see what's going on, find out a little bit of information, because I get it. They have more money than God. Well, it's because they have a lot of money.
It's from God.
Yeah, it's from God, correct. He takes care of Liberty. But no. Hey, maybe you spot something in the stadium, or you saw something we could have done, or the fans were out at another game somewhere and they could say, hey, you know what? I saw this. Are we able to maybe do that? Or the fans had this, or whether it's a concession or anything, just to maybe like try to help.
A nice new stadium, maybe like that.
Yeah,
I'll see that.
We all know that. We want to just blow it up, make a big new one. But in the meantime, like, what are some things you can do to help? Yeah. Like, I think we've had this conversation before. Like, when we have our bosses, every one of our bosses, right, probably gets emails from every single announcer being like, why did I get this game? Or could have got this? They're always looking for something.
Yeah.
How about you try to offer something and maybe try to help and maybe make it better? Because I know I'm just kind of preaching here a little bit, but that's what I do. Like, I don't like to if you just bitch, but you don't have a better plan or an idea or something that can make it better, then what the hell are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So
what can I do for you? That is a great outlook on a lot of things in life.
I asked that question, dude. You know this when we talk to our coaches, because, again, we're here about being positive and promoting programs and doing what we can. I always ask them to say, hey, what can we do to help you? Like, what can we say about the university, the team, your players? What kind of message can we get out there to help your cause? And they're all like, oh, geez, nobody's ever really asked. Thank you. I'd like to say blank, so that's kind of how I do it. You know what I mean? So when you're pissed at people and this and that, I like to really talk to them, find out the inside actual information and say, hey, just so you know, this is kind of the deal.
Yeah. And let me say this real quick, too, because I just thought about the game I called last week was Memphis at Troy. Memphis, 77 new players on their roster, Mike. 77 new players now. The coaching staff hasn't changed. And a lot of the players they got were the best players at their programs that haven't won. So you get a lot of hungry guys that go to Memphis. Because the one thing with Memphis, you want to talk about consistency, 11 straight years bowl eligible. They're them and Boise State are the most the winningest group of 5 or 6, whatever you want to call it, in like the last 10 years. And it was really good talking to Ryan Silverfield, their head coach, just about bringing all these new guys. And he said, we got back to basics coaching because we had so many new guys. And talking about culture, he agreed with what I said. It's like you bring all these guys in, and it's incumbent upon the coaches. Now, granted, Joe and his staff are brand new, right? Ryan Silverfield's been there 10 years, 6 years as a head coach as he took over for Mike Norvell, but he brings people in and shows them this is what we do at Memphis. This is how we win. So very interesting. And they got a big one. They play at noon Eastern. They play Arkansas. Yeah. So it's funny. I'm getting off this podcast, our podcast. I'm doing a podcast for the Arkansas Razorbacks after this to kind of break down that game. And then the American Conference to break it down on the Memphis side. So it's a busy day of podcasts for me. I got a couple more tomorrow. So all right, keeps me sharp. And just so everyone knows, we had a hell of a time with all my electronics. Mike and Christian had to walk me through it. I almost broke my computer monitor, but I'm happy to announce that I only let the temper get me for a few, and then I calmed down. It did not break anything.
You actually do. And I don't know why I didn't give this advice at the beginning of our issues earlier.
Unplug everything.
Correct. Reboot. Reboot is always the thing. I used to get so mad.
Reboot. UMass could use that. Just reboot. Let's just unplug. Fans, coaches, everything. Reboot, unplug, and let's just go. Let's start over.
You got to start there, right? I always remember
love it.
Was at the radio station. I always had issues with some stuff, and I go to my engineer. I'm like, it's not working. He's like, have you tried rebooting? I'm like, yes, I tried rebooting. It's like reboot. All right, let's reboot. Let's have a great bye week. Always great talking to you, man. We'll do it again next one.
See you next week.
See you guys.